Andy, my dude, have you heard of the magical website builder known as Squarespace?
Ugh, not another Squarespace ad. I feel like every podcast is sponsored by them.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it. Yes, okay, it is overhyped, but actually it lives up to the hype. Squarespace is like a website fairy godmother. With a click of a button, your site transforms into a beautiful masterpiece.
A website fairy godmother? That sounds interesting. What makes it so magical?
Well, for starters, those slick templates make anyone look like a professional web designer. Pick one, customize the colors and fonts to match your brand, and voila. Plus, the drag and drop fluid engine is so easy, your grandma could build a site on Squarespace.
Well, she did knit me a lovely scarf last Christmas. Maybe website design is next.
Exactly. And when you're ready to sell your Nana's handmade scarves online, Squarespace has built-in e-commerce. Add a store with one click. Get flexible payment options. Then watch those sales roll in. And when she wants to teach others her steezy scarf skills, Squarespace's new courses feature is just the ticket. Nana can set up her curriculum and enrollments and payments in a snap and become the next e-knitting influencer.
Oh, wow, you really sold me with the grandma angle. Sign me up for that free trial.
Just go to thenextreel.com/Squarespace and transform your site into a beautiful Squarespace masterpiece.
Well, thanks, Pete. Even though it's overhyped, Squarespace actually sounds perfect for Nana's site's needs. Appreciate the warning on the ads, though. I'll brace myself next time I listen to a podcast.
Anytime. Let me know if you need any help getting that site up and running. Andy, can you believe we've almost hit 700 episodes of The Next Reel?
I know, it's crazy. And with all the other episodes in our family of podcasts, we are well over 1,200 episodes of movie conversation. It's really pretty amazing that we've gotten to have these in-depth movie chats every week for over a decade now.
And we couldn't have done it without our loyal community of film fans. Their support over the years has meant so much.
For sure. That reminds me, we should give the merch store a shout out. Buying shirts from thenextreel.com/merch is a great way listeners can continue to support the show. Plus, they get to sport our great designs.
Absolutely. I think sometimes folks forget we have a variety of shirts, mugs, phone cases, and more available. In fact, a great place to start is with a shirt sporting the Next Reel's logo.
We also have that classic Fast Times Spicoli Surf School tee, or the weirdly popular Rusty's European Tour shirt.
The one from National Lampoon's European Vacation. Why is that so popular?
Search me, but we have sold a ridiculous number of those. I guess there are a lot of Rustys taking trips to Europe?
We're always adding new designs based on movies we've covered, like our brand new design for a streetcar named Desire, featuring a streetcar named Desire. So if you want to rep your love of TNR and films, head to thenextreel.com/merch.
Every purchase helps us continue to have these weekly in-depth conversations. So visit thenextreel.com/merch today.
And as always, thanks for listening and being a part of the Next Reel community. We've got lots more great movie chats coming your way. I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
In just a matter of seconds, you're going to hear a classic episode of this show from back in the day when we called ourselves Movies We Like.
It took us a while to settle into the show's format, so you'll notice some differences as you listen to these episodes. For instance, it takes us a bit of time to actually get into the conversation about the movie. Things like that.
But we're still proud of the conversations about the movies themselves, and we think they're worth keeping in the library.
So enjoy these episodes from our back catalog. And you can become part of our Discord community, learn more about the show, and find out how you can become a supporting member at thenextreel.com.
So thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to The Next Reel. We appreciate your time and attention, and we hope you enjoy the show. I most certainly did not.
Okay. Just checking.
I'm not in a good spirit. I tweaked, you know when you tweak your neck and you can't move it?
Do I?
And how? I did that something like last week, and then I got better, and then today I got worse again. I had to shoot. It's probably one of the most fun shoots I've had to do in a while. Can I tell you about it? I'm going to do it anyway. Some attorneys. One of my clients is a
They're attorneys, and we got time at the courthouse, the main courthouse downtown. We got a courtroom all to ourselves, and we got to reenact a bunch of courtroom scenes so that we could capture action stills and video for a production for their firm.
So did you have like a moment from like the verdict where, you got to come swooping down in as
totally
as the verdict is read?
And we did, you're out of order, and you're out of order, and this whole court is out of order.
And did you do, you can't handle the truth?
Yeah. This country is made by what is it? Made around laws. There are laws, something like that. We did the whole thing, and I did a panicked run down a long marble corridor, and it was good.
All with the bad back or bad neck.
That's how I got my bad neck. So I didn't actually note the bad neck until much later.
Gotcha. What a drag.
It is a drag, but it was really it's fun how it happened. This was a good day. This was one of the good ones, son. One of the good ones.
Nice.
Can I just tell you, we're going to do trailers in a moment. And I want to tell you the trailer that I wanted to do so badly.
Yes.
The Joe Show. That was so high on my list. I was going to. Can you tell the good people about the Joe Show real quick? You might as well give a little plug.
Sure. Yeah, this is a documentary we've been working on at Randy Murray Productions, where I spend my days, about Sheriff Joe Arpaio. People may or may not have heard of him, but if you just Google Sheriff Joe Arpaio, I'm sure you can find lots of interesting stories. It's really a story about him as the local Maricopa County sheriff here in Arizona, but he's kind of a kooky guy who feels that as the sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona, that it's his responsibility to track down the Obama birth certificate in Hawaii and things like that. So, he's...
You're kidding me. I did not know that.
Yeah. No, he ends up doing things that, a lot of people get up in arms about because, it's taxpayer money and we're wondering why he's doing these things. So anyway, it's a story about him and his role as sheriff and how he's maintained it for 20 plus years. And also his relationship with the media and how any political role ends up kind of using the media, and the media uses them to kind of create this monster that really they're more about fame and the whole idea of getting themselves reelected through fame rather than actually doing a good job.
This is it is an extremely timely film about arguably the most famous local county sheriff in the nation.
He's known as America's toughest sheriff.
The trailer just came out this week. It looks like the site went live and the trailer came out this week, and you can't see the film yet.
It will be on. We're sending it out to festivals right now. It's actually going to air next year on Investigation Discovery. So we have it. It'll be airing on their channel. And right now we're talking to distributors and sales agents and taking it to American Film Market next month, and trying to get it out into the world in a much larger capacity. So we'll see. It
looks great.
Well, thank you.
It really does. You've outdone yourself.
I'm looking forward to getting it out there and seeing what the people think.
Love the people. Generally, the people are smart and discerning.
Yes.
Can I tell the people? Speaking of, can I tell them where we are?
Yeah, please do.
People, you are at The Next Reel, and this is a podcast where yours truly, Pete Wright and Andy Nelson over there, we spoil movies heavily. Usually just one movie. Sometimes we spoil several at a time. You can find us at thenextreel.com. You can read the blog at thenextreel.com/blog. You can see all of our different reference links on our contact page. Find us at Flickchart and Letterboxd and Twitter and Instagram and so there's lots of different places, and Pinterest now, for crying out loud. You can find us just about everywhere. But the most important part, if you want to reach out to me and Andy is at Soda Creek Film on Twitter. I am at Pete Wright on Twitter, and we would love to hear from you. Most importantly, really, and I'm not just shilling here, I'm sort of shilling. There's some shilling going on right now. We would love it if you're a subscriber on iTunes, if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a really nice review. And I'm not just saying, I mean, only if you mean it. Because when you really leave us nice reviews and your 5-star reviews, they help this show up in other people's search results when they're searching for film commentary and movie reviews and such and so. And so we really appreciate it. And speaking of, do you happen to have our latest review open? I am so excited that we got a Brokeback review. We got the we got the full Brokeback, and I have been giddy about this all week. This was the nicest review, and we have had some extremely nice reviews. Wouldn't you say we've had some extremely nice reviews? This one is at the very top for me.
Wow, really?
Do you have it open, or shall I do it?
Just about open. If you have it open, read it. But
no, this is a race to the opening, is what we're saying.
I'm opening it right now. Ratings and reviews. See, this is why we try to get ready beforehand.
Yeah, we don't really do.
Doesn't always work out. Here we go. Okay, ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't get enough of these guys. 5 stars by, I guess it's Leisha Lynn.
Well, I think Leisha is a one of our Facebook is a regular poster on Facebook. I think, in fact, I don't know if this is the same Leisha, but we have Alicia who I think is responsible for our Coen Brothers series from a little while back.
That's fantastic.
Go ahead. You finish your thing.
Here's what she said. Ever since I stumbled across this podcast, I listened to the episodes over and over while rating movies at Flickchart. We'd love to hear that. Their conversational style is loose, funny, and friendly, and they talk films seriously as an erudite movie team. Check that out. Don't stop, boys, because I can't quit you.
Oh, man. That is so nice.
We can't quit you either, Alicia.
No, ma'am. Well, so we are just delighted when we get these nice reviews. Thank you so much to everybody who has posted to us in the past, and it keeps us moving.
It does.
Yeah,
it's like a little pat on the back. We like those nudges.
Tis a little pat on the back. Mm-hmm. Shall we talk trailers?
Yes.
I was okay.
I really screwed up the trailers this week.
You did. You totally messed it up. I was going to do the Joe Show, and then I was going to do Jack Ryan, because you know what? I can't quit Jack Ryan. And this is a Chris Pine Jack Ryan. I'm not going to talk about it, though. I can't talk about it.
But it would have been good honoring the late legacy of the wonderful Tom Clancy.
Yeah, who screwed that up?
That'd be me.
That guy. And so I can't talk about that. But
hey, well, I can't quit you, though, Pete.
Well, let's just say you're on thin ice, sir.
Uh-oh.
So I can't do that. So you send me this email and you totally throw me for a loop. And now I'm doing Wes Anderson's new film, The Grand Budapest Hotel. What do we think of this? I actually, I'm pretty excited about it. And I didn't think I was going to be very excited about it. I thought I was going to be kind of snotty. And probably make some sort of hipster joke comment about, Wes Anderson and long shots and people in fuzzy hats. Instead, I'm going to say this looks like just the right level of quirky and Adrian Brody slapstick and Bill Murray and Lay Your Hands Off My Lobby Boy. This is
and frickin' Ray Fiennes.
And Ray Fiennes, who is so good. I go to bed with all my friends. And so I am. How do you say Suarez Ronan? Sours?
I think it's Charisse.
Charisse. Well, that's just made up letters then.
Those Irish and all their funny sounds.
Written by Hugo Guinness and Wes Anderson, directed by Wes Anderson, comes out in 2014 at some point. The cast is fantastic. Suarez Ronan, but more well-known even. Ray Fiennes, Edward Norton, Willem Dafoe, Jude Law, Owen Wilson, Léa Seydoux, Bill Murray, Adrian Brody, Tilda Swinton, crazy, Jeff Goldblum, Jason Schwartzman, of course, F. Murray Abraham, Tom Wilkinson, Harvey Keitel, Bob Balaban, Mathieu Amalric, Florian Lucas. I mean, it just keeps going. I could read it. It would take me 3 days to read the cast list, and they're all fantastic. So that's the big one. Definitely something I think is going to be worth chatting about.
I've got to say, I've been real up and down with Wes Anderson's films.
Yes.
I love Rushmore and the Royal Tenenbaums. And then since then, I really haven't liked many of his films. And I missed the Darjeeling Limited completely. And then I enjoyed Moonrise Kingdom. I thought it was okay. I kind of felt like he was getting back on track. And I know, he seems to be very divisive with some of his those middle films like The Life Aquatic and Darjeeling Limited.
You know where I went south was Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Well, yeah.
I was so disappointed by that film.
I was too, and everyone loves that. And I feel like I just completely missed it. But, we took our kid to go see it, and she was bored to tears. We were bored to tears. Oh, yeah. I really just didn't get into that one.
Yeah, that was horrible.
But this one looks like it's getting back on track. Everything about the trailer just really made me excited. So I'm hoping that it will live up to that feeling that I got watching the trailer.
Me too. I'm very excited about this one. So, and it gives me an excuse to link to one of my favorite Wes Anderson spoofs, Conan O'Brien's Wes Anderson Star Wars Episode 7 audition tape, which you will find in the caption of my trailer on the website, which you should go find. It's hidden in there.
That's awesome.
Have you seen it?
No.
It's so good.
I'm gonna have to go see
It's the Han Shoots First reenactment by Wes Anderson.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think it actually takes place in the Grand Budapest Hotel. It's brilliant. And so there we go. So that was that's my trailer.
Yeah, and it opens sometime in 2014.
In 2014.
I think that's all we know.
Yeah. And now I'm real excited about your trailer. I'm excited to see where you go with this.
This is why all of our trailer banter was messed up, because I've had this thing about, since we're doing romantic comedies all month, I need to find romantic comedy trailers, or at least romantic trailers or something, some sort of trailer with romance. And I really struggled this week because there's just not a lot of stuff that I felt warranted discussing.
Which I find fascinating, because I think of the movies that you're about to talk about, all other movies would be more interesting to talk about than these two.
But if they
Go
like,
ahead.
I'd love to talk about Nonstop in the context of it being a romantic comedy.
I'd
love to do that.
Liam Neeson and they have a lovely conversation in First Class for about 2 seconds.
Liam Neeson and the lady who dies in the bathroom. I hear it's a very, very touching and funny moment together.
Yeah. So,
But instead,
take that.
yeah. So take this, Liam. So the first, I'm going to be real quick on this first one because I actually don't want to talk about it except to say how awful it looks. And it's called Endless Love. It opens Valentine's Day next year. Directed by Shauna Fest, starring Alex Pettifer and Emma Rigby. And as some of you who tune in every week know, I'm kind of on this Tom Cruise, kick right now, where I'm watching his entire career from beginning to end with my lovely wife. And we're into the 90s now, but it starts off with this really, really horrible film called Endless Love, which he was in the early 80s. And it's just a bit part, directed by Franco Zeffirelli with Brooke Shields. And it's just like teen love, and it looks horrible. This looks almost like a remake of that, and that's how bad and frightening it looks. But it doesn't look like it's based on the novel that one was based on. So it doesn't look like it's an actual remake, but it feels like a remake, and really, it's just sad. And that's all I really want to say about it. So.
I feel like I should belabor it, but I don't know if I can. I want to torture you with it. It looks so bad.
I know, it really does.
It looks so bad.
And I just feel bad that like Robert Patrick and Bruce Greenwood and Jolie Richardson are all in it.
Bruce Greenwood, man.
I know. What is he doing being in movies like this? So anyway, that's that one. So the movie I'm really going to talk about, though, I'm also not that excited about, and that's because I'm just not a fan of Diablo Cody, and I've discussed that on the show before. I have a real issue with her. And this movie that's coming out, which actually it's actually opening today in limited release. I'm not sure if it's going to get much of an expanded release, but it is going digital right away. I believe people may already be able to download it, but it's called Paradise. And I hate to say it because I just don't like Diablo Cody, but it actually looks cute. And I kind of want to watch it. and I probably am going to, because it just has a very cute look to it. It's a story of a very conservative young woman who is very religious, and she gets into a plane crash and gets burns all over her body. And she has this crisis of faith, and she has to kind of reevaluate her life. Her mom is Holly Hunter. Her dad is Nick Offerman. And basically she goes to Vegas to kind of, get down and dirty and experience the crazy side of life a little bit. She ends up meeting Russell Brand and Octavia Spencer, and kind of goes crazy. And, by you have to watch the trailer. It's actually pretty funny. The things that she does to get crazy really make me laugh. And I hate to say it because, I don't want to belabor the Diablo Cody thing, but this actually does look kind of cute.
Man, I don't see it. I don't see a lot of charm in it, and I feel like I worry that you're blinded to your otherwise rational Diablo Cody disdain.
Well, what's going to happen is I'll probably watch the film
and then really
all
regret
of the
it.
Diablo Cody, the things that I hate are going to come rushing back and smack me across the face.
They
and
will
I'm going
do
to
that.
Really
you can
regret
already,
it.
I can already feel it. This is like, this is it. There are people who are big fans of Diablo Cody. I also am not one of them. I don't carry around quite the level of disdain for Diablo Cody work that you do, but I'm just it's just not in my wheelhouse. But this one in particular looks really fairly banal, and
it does. It looks banal. It looks like a TV movie.
It really
looks
does.
like
This
one of
is
those ones that I could watch while I'm sick, and it'll get me through a couple hours of a fever.
Wow. What's interesting about it is the two movies that you picked both carry the same message, right? Innocence lost. Say goodbye to innocence. This is all about it. The difference is Endless Love is all about like prepubescent teen lust or pubescent teen lust, and is pitched like a horror movie.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
And this one is a comedy, and I don't get it. It's all of the things she does to go crazy are like they're bad jokes of people who actually do go crazy in this kind of way. Like they're really. So I just don't. I didn't resonate with it at all.
I'm sure that I will be completely wrong when I finally watch this film.
I hope you are,
and I'm sure I will regret it. But for now, I'm going to go with the fact that it may have some charm to it. It's got a 3.6 out of 10 on IMDb, so it's not looking very good.
Dude, really?
This is Diablo Cody. She's writing and directing this one, so a Metacritic score of 34. It's definitely not looking very good.
We have already spent too much oxygen talking about this movie.
Yeah, I know. We should stop. Let's just move on. If you want to check out those awesome recommendations by me,
I don't even know if I'm going to give them a link this week.
No, you know what you need to do is you need to Rickroll them.
I'm going to Rickroll them and send them to good movies, actually. That's what I'm going to do. So you just won't even know where you're going. I'm just going to...
So now people are going to go click on
There's a game, but you got to go click on Andy's picks. My pick is going to go exactly where it needs to go, but Andy's picks are going to go...
Jack Ryan.
Boom. You just won't even know.
This is this is just the stupidest thing that I've decided to do this month. There better be a good trailer next week, or I swear it is going to be nonstop.
We might just do Paradise again.
Let's
talk about our movie.
Let's talk about our movie, please.
Not again. Oh, damn it. Come on.
This is Nick. He's a sensitive musician.
I'm not going. We have a gig, Nikki. I don't want to go. I'm taking a mental health day.
Who's bad at relationships.
Hey, Tris, it's Nick. I just wanted to talk to you. I think we both said some things we didn't mean, like when you broke up with me on my B-day.
This is Norah.
Okay, everybody in.
She always plays by the rules.
You have to promise me that you won't get drunk tonight.
But tonight...
Norah! Alone again?
I came here with someone.
Who?
She's going to break them.
Would you be my boyfriend for 5 minutes?
What?
Please, just go with it, okay?
Nick! Norah! How do you guys, know each other?
We're the same dentist.
Yeah. You touch one hair on her head, I will kill all of you!
Norah, I'm being carried! Ow!
Oh.
She'll be okay.
You off duty?
This isn't a cab. Awesome night.
We are, of course, talking about Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, starring Michael Cera, Kat Dennings, written by Lorene Scafaria, who wrote the screenplay adapted from the book by Rachel Kahn and some other Yahoo. Rachel Kahn and David Levithan. Levithan. And it is, this is the third in our series of romantic comedies that we are talking about for the horrible month of October. Boom. I did. I dropped horrible on you just now. Did I say it was directed by Peter Sollett?
You didn't.
I didn't. I should have said that. He is a bearded man who looks a little bit like Neo from The Matrix. That's right.
Little intense.
Little intense. He, what does he really know? He hasn't done a whole lot. He did...
Raising Victor Vargas was his breakout film back in 2002.
And then there was this.
And now he's, I know he's in development on a film with, I think it was with Jack Black, actually. So it's kind of just an office comedy called I think it's called Blacklist or Bailout. It's called Bailout. So they're working on that movie called Bailout. And, but yeah, I think he's one of those directors who broke onto the scene with his little indie film in 2002 and then ended up doing Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. And now because of that, he's been directing little things here and there, little episodes of TV. And, it's kind of the way that a lot of indie filmmakers really probably end up taking the same path who aren't those big breakouts like Mark Webb with 500 Days of Summer.
Right.
That's like the real breakout. This is the sort of breakout where it's like, yes, he now has a directing career where he does these little episodes here and there of shows and fights to get the films.
How did this one get on our list? Because this one it was produced by Chris and Paul Weitz. Interestingly, that coming off of About a Boy last week.
Yeah, I thought so.
So that I find interesting. It is otherwise it's a sweet film. We'll talk more detailed about sweetness shortly. Was this one of our wives?
Yes.
Recommended this one?
Well, yeah, and this is definitely one of the wife recommendations, and this is a film that it was. Yeah. This is a film that our wives, or at least one of them, really love. I know my wife does. So.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's a very sweet, very tender sort of movie, and it really fits that rom-com vibe that it's just a very sweet falling in love story.
It addresses for me, it addresses my need to have if we're going to do rom-coms, we need to have some really heavily sort of music infused rom-coms, and I really enjoy the soundtrack for this film, and I know we're doing more music coming up, but this one,
well, I'll tell you,
it's very high fidelity kind of a thing, which is kind of right up there at the top. So
we have really nailed it as far as rom-coms with soundtracks.
Yes, absolutely.
And you could almost argue that to make a really solid rom-com, you need a really great soundtrack. I mean, 500 Days of Summer, About a Boy, this, and the other ones that we're going to be talking about, they all have soundtracks, or at least key songs that end up becoming like an integral part of the film.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to figure out, like, for example, when did I discover Vampire Weekend? It may have been this movie.
Yeah, right.
There a Band of Horses. Like, there are bands on here that I think I actually discovered and love today as a result of this film.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot about this film I think to like. It's sort of in counter to that. It's sort of a quiet, a little bit of a weirdly quiet film. It's more intimate than it would than I think it lets on with all the sort of strange kind of open window noise going on around Nick and Nora. But I think it's an easy film to sort of embrace their relationship once we finally get into it.
It is a very quiet film, and that's something I really noticed this go around rewatching it, and it really, in a strange way, and I don't know if you're going to buy into my comparison, but it really felt like Marty, which we talked about, a couple of months ago. It has that same sort of quiet story about, kind of somebody falling in love, this love story, and it's a film that, give it 50 years, will people still be talking about it? I don't know. Marty benefited from probably a weak year of Oscars and became the Best Picture winner. And because of that, people still really talk about it quite a bit, or not quite a bit, but people at least still talk about it because it did win Best Picture. This film didn't benefit from that. So in 50 years, will people still be talking about this? I don't know, because it is such a quiet, intimate little love story.
Yeah. And I think as a result, it's entertaining. I find it. I don't feel like I connected with it as much as I connected with the other films that I've rewatched in this series.
I didn't connect with it as much as I did the first time I watched it.
It's deteriorating over time. This is a movie with a half-life. Right, and that's what I'm really struggling with. I'm trying to figure out why, because I find Michael Cera playing a lovelorn somebody. In this case, somebody named Nick O'Leary.
Here's the description from the book: the haunted puppy dog look of pathetic despair.
That's it. He drives a Yugo, and therefore he has character. And so he's a bass player in an all gay band. And that part is, I think, maybe the most entertaining. Certainly that's the comedy of the romance, I think. Beyond Michael Cera's awkwardness, the comedy of the romance is, it's to me, it's handled by the all gay band, which is fantastic. Aaron Yu, Rafi Gavron, the gay bandmates are wonderful in this
Jonathan
film.
Wright as
Yes.
beefy guy.
Yes. Lothario. I mean, please, these guys are fantastic, and just their struggle to come up with a great all gay band name is clearly not safe for work, but hysterical and just appropriately ribald for a film like this. And I love watching Michael Cera kind of parade through this film, and I love his sort of not believable love of music. And he's pretty awkward holding a guitar, but generally, I think he is. I find he's one of those that's sort of infectious, and it may be one of those sort of symbiotic infections that you kind of don't want to cure, because I know, but the tapeworm keeps me skinny, and so.
That may be the strangest way to describe one's affection for Michael Cera. He's like the tapeworm that I can't let go of because it keeps me skinny.
Michael Cera is the tapeworm that keeps me skinny. But I love how I think that awkwardness is very much sort of, we talked about Prisoners, how it sort of taps into the lizard brain for me of what I would do if my child were kidnapped. But this taps into that sort of 18-year-old lizard brain awkwardness around, I've gotten myself into this life where I play the bass in an all-gay band in New York, and I just had a bad breakup, and I really don't know what to do next. And I like that. And his romantic foil, Kat Dennings, is I think equally human in this film, and I really like that. She's not but it's sort of a trite comparison with the sort of cheerleader-esque Triss. She's even named Triss, and Kat is Norah, and she doesn't look at all like Triss. She doesn't. She's beautiful, but she's just a different kind of beautiful. And so it's a little bit of a trite kind of, she may not be beautiful, but she's still perfect story, and it kind of loses me in the romance a little bit, but. But generally, I like it. I'm struggling with it, and that's what I'm trying to convey here, is that this movie, it's frustrating because I feel like there are enough things going right for it that I should like it more than I did.
I think a lot of it is just because it is just kind of this slight story. It's nothing too big, and it's hard to really jump on board with a film that feels so small and really kind of toot your horn about it because it is slight, and it's very slight in a way that you can totally, like, I can totally just fall in love with this film. I can fall in love with these characters. I can go along for the ride the whole time. When it's done, I can also kind of let it go and forget about it. And that's what I did, because I watched this film and I'm like, wow, I just don't remember any of this. And I mean, I remembered kind of the general crux of the plot and everything, but when I was watching, I'm like, gosh, I don't remember all these different scenes. Like it was almost like watching it for the first time again, because it just isn't a film that really stuck with me. But right. I still found it completely enjoyable. It's just not a film that I really find myself latching onto in any great capacity, where I find the characters like part of my soul and I connect to them or anything like that. And maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know. But I mean, it is a good movie. It's very enjoyable. It's very sweet. The characters are great. They're written very realistically. I really enjoy just kind of the honesty of the Nick and Norah characters. And I feel like they have a real connection and there's a real story going on with these characters. And I really enjoy this window into their life that we have for about 24 hours. And, I guess that's all I need. I don't need anything more than that. And I'm okay with kind of letting it go. And if coming back to it, down the road, I'm sure I'll still enjoy it again. That's kind of how I feel.
All right. Yeah, this is... Michael Cera was, not... I think he was fine. He was just, there's not a whole lot of breadth yet for him in this film. And Kat Dennings is, wasn't up to the 40-year-old virgin. And I think ultimately it was, I'm trying to figure out where I was lost. There was this sense of, much of the story is around this chase around Lower Manhattan, right?
Right.
And there are sort of two chases going on. The first is a chase for Caroline. Caroline is the best friend who drinks a lot and ends up in some horrifically uncomfortable situations related to her intoxication. And the worst one, which turns this film into just a horror film, is her in the bathroom of the train station, where she's talking on the phone and she's chewing gum, and she drops the phone and gum into the toilet after she's thrown up in it, and then she reaches in to get the phone to finish her conversation, which miraculously still works, covered in toilet water and vomit in a butt station. And then she picks up her gum and resumes the chew out of the toilet.
It is a true gross out moment.
I'm having not an easy time talking about it.
I can tell. It's a horribly uncomfortable, just disgusting moment. It's toilet humor, literally. And,
it's like the scene was included on a dare. I think you put it right. I mean, it's like, hey, what can you do? Here you go. There's some gum and a cell phone and some vodka and a toilet and a bus station. Go.
Well, it's funny. Peter Sollett, the director, he actually talks about the gum and how, I guess the gum is not in the book. I mean, it is a very visual gag. It works better in the film. They probably didn't even come up with the idea for it in the novel. When they latched onto this idea of this gum that ends up in Caroline's mouth from the first bar after she's kissing somebody, and he transfers it into her mouth. That gum goes all the way through the movie to her, into a couple other people's mouths, and I think it does end up back in her mouth by the time we get to the end. And it's disgusting, the places this gum has gone and the number of people who end up chewing it. But the director, he said that he liked the gum because it was a useful way to let the dramatic air out of the balloon, like when he felt scenes were getting too serious or whatever. And while I can say, sure, I can see that, I would also counter with, I don't feel that this film ever had that much dramatic air in this balloon.
Right? Although I don't necessarily know. I think maybe it was, because the gum sort of caused the movie to percolate a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
And it was. I think it may be solving a different problem than letting dramatic air out, but maybe inserting some comedic air into an otherwise. You have to admit, if Caroline was not in the film, this would be a fairly maudlin romantic comedy.
And fairly short.
That's right.
Yeah. She's absolutely. She's a great subplot to have. She picks up the pace of the film quite a bit because there's so much comedy in this. It's not just toilet humor, but it's also drunk humor. You get a lot of that with the Caroline character, and it's very fun to watch her part of the story as we're going on the adventures of drunk Caroline around the city. And I think I'm not quite sure where the film would have gone if that wasn't in there.
Yeah, it's a tough one. We should say that Caroline was played by Ari Grainer, who's been in I don't know.
She's been in a lot of films.
The Sitter,
Mystic River.
Yeah, Mystic River.
She's in The Sopranos.
Well, that's true. I had forgotten that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Veronica Mars, For Your Consideration. She was.
So she was good. I think she was a high point in the film for me, actually, as I reconsider.
I love her. I also I just love the way that she's so kind of up and down with her emotions. I mean, she plays drunk so well.
She really does. She really does. I love the sandwich bit.
Oh my God, that's just one of the funniest
it is
moments.
Really funny exchange.
And the way that she plays it off of him, and the way that he decided to play his whole scene without ever saying anything.
Yeah,
I think it's just so good. That's the wonderful Kevin Corrigan playing opposite her at the bus station. He's so funny with the turkey sandwich. But the way I guess what she would do before every take is she would spin in circles a whole bunch because she heard that helps you kind of get that kind of dizzy drunk style of actually being, and she did it every time before every take, and I think it works because I swear she's drunk this whole time.
Yeah, she does. She's good. She's good. I liked it. So that was her. Now the other chase, we mentioned there are two chases. The other chase is everybody is chasing this shy indie band, Where's Fluffy? And Where's Fluffy? I think this is a bit of cleverness. They put clues all over the place, but where they're going to play. They don't tell anybody where they're going to play because
they're shy.
Because they're so shy, and that they don't apparently need publicity because everybody buys into their shyness so much that they just follow them around all over the place,
right?
And follow these clues. And so they're a band only for smart people.
Maybe that's something we should take that into account with our podcast. We should start leaving clues in bathroom stalls
about when and where it will be broadcast on the internet. That's a great idea.
There you go.
I want us not to be found in any search engines. I want us not to be found in iTuneses.
That's right. We can stop plugging it. It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Neon marker. We want our fans to take it to the streets.
So it's about this band. They're going out to find this band, and everybody loves Where's Fluffy. And Michael Cera apparently is Nick's character is apparently he's quite prescient when it comes to music, and he loved Where's Fluffy before Where's Fluffy was anything, and that's become a thing. And so they're on the hunt for Where's Fluffy, and that's now it's a race between saving our drunk friend and finding this band.
Right.
And that's when supposedly the hilarity ensues. So that's overall that's what the movie's about. It's the chases of the drunk friend and the band.
Yep.
Is that did I leave anything out?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
All right. So let's see. Who else do we need to talk about in the film? Should we talk about Tal?
Jay Baruchel, this is it was nice. I forgot that he was in this film, and I like
kind of a weird part for him.
Well, I like it though because it's so different than everything else that he does. He's always kind of the scrawny loser sort of character.
He's just as likely to have played the Nick part.
Even when he's animated, they still make him the scrawny loser, like in How to Train Your Dragon, where he still is the scrawny loser Viking. He really plays that part so well. So it's so strange seeing him play this kind of cocky, arrogant, Jew fire band guy who's been kind of he's the ex, but still friends with benefits for Norah, which is interesting.
Right, and why? Because Nora's dad is conveniently the head of the super studio.
Yes, the music.
And Tal Jay Baruchel is in a band. Everybody's in a band.
Of course.
And so he plays a tough guy, and then we have Triss, the ex-blonde vixen girlfriend, and
Alexis Deanna.
Yes,
she's an interesting one. I kind of have I don't know if I call it a love-hate relationship, but I'm not, because I'm just not sure there's that much love. She always kind of creeps me out, and I mean, I think she's enjoyable enough, but I'm never that convinced that she's somebody I'm ever supposed to like.
Yeah.
She plays like the jealous ex really well, and I feel like that's kind of her lot in life, and that's horrible to say, but that's just how I
don't think
see her.
I haven't actually seen much. I mean, what other notable part have you seen her in?
Broken Flowers is probably the big one that I remember watching.
Seen it.
It's
with that's Bill Murray, right?
Yeah, it's Bill Murray. It's Jim Jarmusch's film.
Yeah.
She's I think Julianne Moore's daughter, who ends up she shows up fully naked. It was a very strange moment for her in that film. I wasn't quite sure what to think, but I just didn't get into it that much, and so yeah, she's just, and I know I've seen her in other things. I just don't know. She did. Invasion. Invasion is what I remember her from the most.
Oh, the TV show.
Season of Invasion. Yeah, she was the daughter who ended up getting at the end of the season. She gets taken by the aliens or infected or whatever it was. I can't remember now. And then it was such it wasn't popular enough to continue. So you don't know what ends up happening with her.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, she was, so she filled a hole in this film. She was there was a hole. They needed a vixen, and she was the one.
Yes.
And so I don't know. This was what is this great quote from Bryan Cranston? And in certain areas of this film, I found this quote resonating, which was, a great actor can only raise bad writing like 1 letter grade or something. And there were parts around her character that I just found myself just kind of exhausted, and my shoulders would curl over, and I would just want to like fast forward a little bit. Like she may be supremely talented, but I don't know that we got a chance to see it in this kind of film. So
yeah, I mean, well, she plays, like I said, she seems like the jealous ex, and she plays that well, and I guess that's all there is to it. For her. Yeah. So, and then you've got random cameos in here from Seth Meyers, Andy Samberg,
okay,
Eddie K. Thomas, John Cho. I mean, it's really funny, like the faces that end up popping up.
Seth Meyers is the best one, I think, for me. He gets in the cab with his
with Lorraine Scafaria, the screenwriter.
Right? And that ends up being. I think that's a part to watch again and again, because first of all, he doesn't look like himself. You can't quite catch him, and he's fantastic. He's fantastic. It makes me actually. I wish he was in more stupid comedies, because I think he's really good at those kinds of roles. And then Andy Samberg,
a strangely creepy to no end homeless man.
A homeless man. He was very creepy. These cameos were great. The cameos are sort of why you show up.
Yeah,
I think they did a great job of just sort of peppering them throughout the film. Yeah. Okay. So tell me more about why I should. I feel like the more I talk about it, I'm liking it less.
Well, I don't think I'm liking it less. I think I still like this film. It's It's a very sweet film, and it's an honest love story. I do really enjoy this love story between Nick and Nora. I feel like there is an honest journey in their relationship, as he's dealing with getting over Triss, which I still always wonder, how did he ever like Triss in the first place? But
Yeah.
how people end up getting caught in these webs of relationships where everyone around them is like, what do you see in that person?
Yeah.
And so I can totally buy it. But it's so clear that Nick and Nora work well together. All of his gay band member friends see it, and I love their pushing to get them together. I love the scenes of the two of them together. I just feel like it's honest writing. I feel like it's honest acting. I feel like it's depicting an honest relationship, and I love how it builds to the end. I still don't know why they feel like they need to leave the concert at the end. It's like, they're together. Why
they've worked
why,
all night to get to the
Yeah.
concert. That's
Why
been their
do you-
journey.
Yeah, I wasn't. It's sweet that they do,
But
and
it's
it's
but in
cute,
fact,
but
you can have it all, and that's what these kinds of movies are supposed to reward you with. That you got the concert and the thing.
Why did they leave? I don't know. But
Tal, the pressure was too great because Tal was there.
well, Tal and Triss are both still
Yeah.
there, so I guess they just don't want to be around their exes. I don't know, but it's very sweet, and I really enjoy Nick and Nora. Rachel Cohn was a big fan of the Thin Man series, and she specifically wanted to use the names Nick and Nora when she wrote this novel of these two teenagers who were falling in love, and she wanted to have that kind of style of speaking, that witty banter. Obviously, they weren't going to be the heavy drinkers that Nick and Nora were in the Thin Man, or the really kind of just coming from that rich background or whatever. But they still kind of have that fun banter back and forth that comes across really well. And I haven't read the novel, but I have heard that it comes across in the novel, and I feel like it comes across in the film. It's not quite like the 30s style of writing, but it still is fun, witty banter between these two characters, and I really do enjoy it. The novel, I think, is an interesting story. I guess Rachel Cohn had this idea to write this novel about these two characters falling in love, and really wanted to co-write the book with a man. And my understanding of the novel is that they each took alternating chapters. And so she would write a chapter from Nora's perspective. And then when she was done, she would give it to David, who would write the next chapter following her chapter from Nick's perspective. And they would leave each other with these cliffhangers, or these things that they had to end up incorporating into their own chapters as they went back and forth and following the arc of them over the course of this night. I find that a really gratifying story, the way that you write a story and come up with it. I think it's really fun and it's really clever. And I like that they chose to do this between two authors telling two perspectives of the story. And I feel like it would be a really fun read. And one of these days, maybe I'll read it. But at the same time, I when you're writing a book called Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, I think there's something key that you have music in it, and I just love the fact that it's a movie with lots of great music, because it really does feel like the music permeates this film from beginning to end, and it's not just in the songs. I mean, you're seeing posters everywhere, you're seeing bumper stickers for bands everywhere, you're seeing people are always talking about it. I just feel like this is like music is another character in this film. Just like New York is a character in this film. You've got the story of Nick and Nora, but music and New York, I think, are just such huge parts of the story as well.
Yeah, I did want to talk a little bit about New York. I really like the way they portray the city in this film, and I like this sort of because of the hour of the hours that the plot sort of takes place over the course of this night. It's not super busy New York. It's not the typical daylight, heavy traffic. We know what that's all about. It's a New York that weirdly feels like sort of any town any city USA, right? I mean, it could be any place, and I think it gives it kind of a much more of a homely, approachable character to the city than I think we're used to seeing. Less of a showpiece, and it sort of lets the city act as the backdrop that it's meant to be, and not too much of a show-stopping character in itself.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
liked that. I did like that. I liked watching his Yugo kind of plot around the city, and I think that's funny without a lot of the idiocy that usually comes with these sorts of teenage rom-coms, but which I'm also a big fan of. So
Yeah, I feel like this one hits all the notes really well, and I think it ties everything together really well. But it has great comedy when Caroline is being carried away and her head gets smacked into the van door. I mean, I can't help but laugh out loud. I had forgotten that happens, and it's such a funny moment. And it plays those moments well against the more dramatic moments. And I think there's some great relationship truths, and I love the moment of Nick and Nora when they actually go to her dad's studio, and there's the sexual moment between the two of them, and I love the way that that's portrayed, and it's very simple. It's not some crazy sex scene. It's just this small moment that is an important connection between these two characters. And you don't often get that, especially in teen romantic comedies that are supposed to be drawing in kind of the teen crowd, that seem to be focused more on the visceral moments of the relationship rather than the actual emotional moments of the relationship.
yeah, it feels so much like in that respect, and I agree with you. I think that scene was really well architected, and I felt a real sort of affinity to the characters in that relationship. It may have been kind of the most human sequence in the film.
Yeah.
For me, and it was like you say, it was intimate and close and not explicit. But still very sort of pure and actual, and I liked that. The whole sequence in the studio, particularly leading up to their first sort of kiss, there is this weird energy between them that is just, it's so palpable and memorable, right? And I don't mean I'm going to remember this scene. It's I remember that from my first kiss, right? I mean, it was weird and irreplaceable, and I think they just those two people really captured that extremely well on screen. I think that was that's one to show up for this movie for too.
That's an interesting point, and I think that may be why I latch onto the film, and maybe why people like the film, but at the same time, like why I don't find it as memorable, because a lot of those moments that feel so honest and so truthful don't bring me back to the moments in the movie, but take me back to moments in my own life.
Yeah.
And that could be an interesting reflection on the way that storytelling actually brings up memories, as opposed to creating something that is so lasting in and of itself.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily, like, my first instinct is to say in this case that works at a disservice to this film.
Well, that's definitely possible.
But I also think that's aspirational filmmaking. I mean, that's why we do this. That's why we sort of write and create, is to help others establish that sense memory, that visceral memory, and that emotional connection.
And even if it is something that ends up being a disservice to this film, I mean, I will say you've got to give credit to all three writers, the two writers of the novel and the screenwriter, for being able to create those moments that end up causing you to reflect on moments of truthful relationship memories in your own life.
It takes, I mean, just that, the reflection for me is just this sense that they have such an unbelievably good connection to their own histories.
Yeah.
To be able to conjure up that place on paper, on the page. Really powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other highlights you want to talk about here before we...
Yeah, one last little note that I think is, I think it's good to just read a quote from the book regarding the actual infinite playlist line, because I love how it is written in the book. I actually just looked it up. Like I said, I haven't read the book, but I looked it up. Like, why is it called the Infinite Playlist? And this is a quote from the book as to where the line Infinite Playlist comes from. I shouldn't want the song to end. I always think of each night as a song, or each moment as a song. But now I'm seeing we don't live in a single song. We move from song to song, from lyric to lyric, from chord to chord. There is no ending here. It's an infinite playlist. And I feel like they captured something in that line about life and how that's what this movie is about. The infinite playlist is all of these moments in your life, the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, the exciting moments, the romantic moments, and the way all of those moments build together to create something that just kind of keeps going. And it's this endless thing that we're all a part of. And I really like that about the title, and I really like the way that he described that, or the two of them describe that in the book.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. And John Cho.
And John Cho.
Okay. This movie did pretty well.
Well, I don't know if I'd say it did pretty well.
Well, it did. It did. Okay.
It did well enough to break even. This, when you look at it on our movie cost per finished minute adjusted for inflation list that we have, this is the lowest on the list of movies that actually did actually break even or make a profit.
Well, now, wait a minute. So how much did they spend on prints and advertising on this film? Because that, I think, is what, because the number I found is clearly not the number that you found.
$10 million was the budget for this film.
Yeah.
So $10 million. They spent $23 million marketing this film.
Oh, that was dumb.
So a total budget of $33 million to get this film out into the world. Yes, they did. And it ended up grossing domestically. It made just about $31.5 million. Internationally, this isn't the sort of film that sells well internationally, so it only made about $2 million internationally. All told, it made about $33.5 million. So it scraped by. It made about it profited,
about $500,000.
Yeah, it really didn't do very well profit-wise, but it still profited. The adjusted, this was made in 2008, so it's not a huge change in the inflation, but adjusted profit per finished minute, it made $6,478.79 per finished minute, as opposed to something like Jaws, which right now is still our highest grossing adjusted profit per finished minute film at $15,657,814 per finished minute. So yeah, there's a big difference between Jaws and between Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. But it didn't lose money, so you gotta give them credit for at least making something that it still made a profit.
That is funny.
Yeah.
All right. Let's rank it.
Let's
do it. Let's do that. So if you want to follow along on our rankings, you can head over to flickchart.com. That's flickchart.com. Please don't go to flipchart.com. That's a different thing.
Did somebody point that out to you? I've never heard of Flipchart.
Well,
that's important
you and I have a dear friend who wrote an email to us and asked us to flip chart something.
Oh, yes.
And I want to make sure that we don't have other people in the audience who are wondering, why can't I find their list on the flipchart.com? Very different thing. Flickchart.com.
Although I will say, if you do need an elegant easel, go to flipchart.com. They have a wide variety
I haven't
of
gone
easels.
there. Are you there right now?
Hanging graphic hardware.
Oh, wow, they really do.
They really classic A-frame easels, convention A-frame hotel easels.
Do you know, I'm really finding myself excited about the gallery and exhibit walls.
Oh, yes.
And what about the tension fabric structures? Did you know you could do a tension fabric structure?
I'm quite a fan of the aluminum The big.
Are you?
aluminum-
You're not talking about the aluminum slat wall stands, are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Andy. And how?
And scene.
Flickchart.com/thenextreel is where you want to go for to follow along and see our entire golden ticket list here.
Yes. All right. Let's head on and rank this thing. Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, or the Bourne Identity.
Bourne Identity.
Bourne Identity. Yes. Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, or Clute.
Clute.
See, I think I would go Nick and Nora, and maybe it's just echoing the times and the fact that it has pacing for modern sensibilities that I find a little more easy to just sit back and relax and get into.
Tape recorder, dude. Tape recorder.
Man, you sold that one. All right, tape recorder, you win.
Trump.
I know. I feel like I just, made a big fool of myself and all. Wow. What was I thinking?
Go ahead.
Now, okay, Nick and Nora or the Wolverine. I would totally go Nick and Nora.
You know what? I'm gonna give you this one.
All right. 'Cause
Yeah.
the Wolverine is just problems from beginning to end.
I don't want you to stroke out.
There you go. Nick and Nora or We're No Angels. I'd still do Nick and Nora.
I would do
We're
Nick
No
and
Angels,
Nora.
Yeah, We're No Angels is a lot of fun, but Nick and Nora or Christmas in July.
I would do Nick and Nora.
I would too. Nick and Nora or Miller's Crossing.
I would do Miller's
Old
Crossing.
Miller's Crossing, yes. All right, 90. Number 90 out of 114.
Hey, cracked the top 100.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Every week it gets one movie harder.
Who will get bumped
Just
up?
what did Nick and Nora bump out of the top 100 tonight?
Let me see. I have to go through the whole list because it only shows me up to 99, of course. So hold on, let me look. Nick and Nora bumped. Come on! Slow websites. Number 101 is now the Wolverine. So Wolverine just got bumped off our top 100, and I think that is okay.
Just fine.
I am good with that.
Excellent.
Yes,
excellent.
indeed.
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy. We're so happy. You're so happy. They're so happy. And so that's what we got. Now, where do we go here for next week?
Next week, we are going to be continuing our chat about romantic comedies in the month of October, and we're going to go to, I don't know if you call it classic since it's not that horribly old, but we are going to be jumping back into the 93, so 20 years old already. Holy cow. Sleepless in Seattle.
Wow.
20 years old.
This was another recommendation from the spouses.
Mm-hmm. I think this
was on our list anyway. They confirmed it. Yeah, this one.
They just said you guys were smart. You picked a good one here.
Yeah. And so that's good. I'm actually excited to talk about this one, and I'm excited to talk about the one after that.
I am excited about both of those.
I think I'm even more excited about talking about the one after that. So I'm a whole week ahead in my anticipation.
Well, that's good. I hope you are still excited about talking about Sleepless next week.
I don't know if I can. I may not show up. I'm going to skip.
It'll just show up in 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks from now. So good luck next week, and
thank you.
Good night, Andy.
I'll have a great conversation with myself.
It is hard to believe that we have been having in-depth weekly conversations about movies since 2011.
So many great conversations over the years about so many great movies.
And some stinkers.
Well, true. But producing this show week after week requires a ton of work behind the scenes. If you'd like to help support our efforts, one easy way is by using our Originals page when shopping for books and movies that we've covered.
Just visit thenextreel.com/originals. Your purchases made through our links give us a small commission at no extra cost to you and allow us to keep having these great discussions.
In Season 3, we covered even more great adaptations like The Night of the Hunter and It Happened One Night, both part of our Couples on the Run series.
We talked about No Country for Old Men. The Coen brothers so rarely adapt someone else's work.
We had some fun rom-com adaptations like About a Boy, based on the Nick Hornby novel, and Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, adapted from Rachel Cohn and David Levithan's book.
In our terribly and naively named foreign language series, we discussed The Brilliant City of God and The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, which I won't ever be able to watch again, ever.
But could you read the original memoir?
I don't know, maybe?
We had our Richard Dysart series with adaptations like The Day of the Locust and Being There.
Plus, we had that fantastic interview with the man himself.
The one where we had him sit on the floor?
Because this chair was so squeaky. Good times.
We did our first Tom Hanks series with Forrest Gump, adapted from Winston Groom's novel, plus Apollo 13, based on Lost Moon by Jim Lovell.
And we did another year series looking at films from 1981, including Das Boot, Gallipoli, and Thief, all based on books.
Listeners can dive deeper into all of these original stories and more at thenextreel.com/originals. Every book, play,
movie,
video game. You bet. We have talked about some video game adaptations as well. It doesn't matter the source, just follow the link. Every purchase supports the podcast.
Check out the full list at thenextreel.com/originals and get reading, watching, performing, or playing today.